Hello there, and welcome to another episode of Cutting Through the Bullsht. I am your host, Dr. Stephanie Snyder, and I am a high-performance mentor. Through my unique blend of strategy, mindset, and intuition, I help men and women to cut through the BS in order to create the life and business they desire. So, I remember one of my very first college classes that I taught. We were living in Gulfport, Mississippi, and I was teaching an intro to political science class. And I was so excited to teach this class. It was one of my very first college courses that I was teaching. And it was, not intro to political science. It was intro to American government. And it was what, 2010? No, 2008. So there was a presidential election coming up. I don't remember off the top of my head who it was. I feel like it was Obama. I don't know. I think it was. And I remember having this discussion with my college students. And I was asking them about who was registered to vote and who was going to be voting in this election. And not everybody was registered to vote. They raised their hands. And I said, okay, cool. I said, the rest of you who are not registered to vote, if you don't agree with this president, you cannot complain about anything. And they looked at me, a little weird, and they said, what do you mean? And I said, if you don't vote during this election cycle, you don't have a right to complain. Sorry, a little tickle in my throat. Give me 1 second. We're going to reset here. Okay. So I said, if you're not going to practice your right to vote, you cannot complain about the president. And I started to go a little bit deeper with it. And I said, this is your opportunity to voice your opinion. Do I believe that you get the most out of your vote at the presidential level? No. I think the local level is probably the best place to start. But if you're not going to voice your opinion in a way that you are able to, then you have no right to complain about it. And maybe you're thinking, okay, Steph, I don't want to listen to you talk about politics. Cool. I don't want to talk about politics today anyways. So when it comes to this, though, it is the same in our relationships. If we are not going to have a conversation with somebody about something that maybe we're annoyed with or bothers us or we have feelings about, then we don't get to have those feelings. Okay. Right? Like maybe that was a little bit harsh. Steph, I feel annoyed and pissed off at my sibling. We're going to go there, right? So if I am annoyed and pissed off at my sibling because they did something, I'm not, but we're using a hypothetical here, right? I have very honest conversations with my siblings and my parents and all the people because of this, right? And so let's say that my oldest sister, let's say that she pissed me off about something. She hasn't, but we're going to go with it. Okay. So let's say she pissed me off about something and I'm angry about it. And I have told everybody that I know that I am so angry that she acted in this way. If I never bring this to my sister's attention and I never have the conversation with her, then I don't get to be mad at her. Because she has no idea that I'm mad at her. And that's just exhausting for me. Right? But for some reason, we think someone will know if we're mad at them. They don't know. They don't know. They don't know that you're mad at them, that you're pissed off at them, that you're annoyed with them, unless you ever actually tell them. Because here's the thing. We see every situation through our own eyes, our own lens. And so if we piss somebody off and we didn't necessarily do it on purpose, or maybe we did do it on purpose, right? Like, we don't necessarily know that you're pissed off at us. So until you're willing to have that conversation, you cannot be mad. I'm going to give you an actual real life example. Okay. So my immediate older sister, she is 20 months older than me, whatever it is, right? And I remember it was years and years and years ago, probably when we first moved back to Virginia from Sicily. And when we go up and visit family, I give them our dates as early as I can because I want to see my siblings. I want to see my family. There are friends that I still keep in touch with, and I'll reach out to them if our schedule allows it, right? But our primary purpose of going to Massachusetts when we visit is to see my family. And so I give them the dates as early in advance as I can. And I remember it had to have been before baby number 3 was born. It was just the older 2. And I'd given them this weekend that we were going to be up there like a month in advance. And the plan was to have dinner on Sunday with all of the siblings and the nieces and nephews. We were going to get everybody together on that Sunday for dinner. And it was like 3:00 that everybody was meeting. And it got closer and closer to 3:00 and people started to trickle in. And my immediate older sister, didn't hear anything from her. We had a group chat, whatever it was. Didn't hear anything from her. And so I finally called her after everybody else was there and we were getting ready to have dinner. We were hanging out. And I called her. I said, "Hey, are you coming today?" She goes, "Oh, no, we're real busy. We're doing X, Y, and Z. We're not going to make it today." And I stopped and I said, "That makes me very sad." I said, "I know the kids were really excited to see your boys, and I was really excited to see you today. I'm sorry that you're not going to be able to make it, but it hurts my feelings when we gave you so much time in advance. I really thought that you would be here." And I just left it at that. I know it did upset her, right? I know we had a conversation about it after the fact, right? But I was upset that we had made this plan that everybody was going to get together and she just pieced out. She was like, "No, right?" Like, am I over it? Yeah, absolutely. 'Cause I had the conversation with her. And I have no problem having those conversations with people. But when I find myself unable to have the conversation, then I have to check myself and say, okay, is this really that important for me to have the conversation? Because if it is, then I've got to muster up the courage to have this uncomfortable conversation with a person. And if I can't muster up the courage to have this uncomfortable conversation with this person, then I have to let it go. Let it go. I don't have a right to be mad if I'm not going to have a conversation with that person about it. Right? I remember having this conversation with somebody that I was working with, and I was doing sales calls for this person, and I was very, very good at it. Very good at it. And then I had asked for bonuses in payment in regards to these sales conversations that I was having. And the bonuses were starting at like a 75% close rate and then increasing all the way up to whatever it was, right? And when I had this conversation with this person, he looked at me point blank and he said, "I don't give bonuses for mediocre work." Oh, okay. So I had a very awkward conversation with this person later on. And I said, "Listen, my sales performance has dipped because you have deemed a 75% close rate as mediocre." And he said, "I don't remember saying that." And I said, "Oh, I do." You said it. And it was shortly after that I was like, "We're done here. This won't be a thing that I continue doing." But that was an awkward conversation. It was very uncomfortable for me. But I didn't have a right to be mad about being deemed a mediocre performance if I wasn't going to have the conversation. And the same is true with our relationships with our spouses, with our kids, with our whatever, right? Like, if you're not going to have a conversation with somebody about it, you can't be mad about it. I mean, you can, but it's not going to do you any good or them any good. And you're just going to be pissed off and it's going to be resentful and it's just going to build and build and build and build and build and build, right? Until you're like, actually, peace out of this relationship. All because you didn't want to have an uncomfortable conversation. And now every time you're with that person, it's awkward and it's annoying and you're frustrated and you're like, why don't they know that I'm mad at them? Because you haven't freaking told them that you're mad at them. Period. End of story, right? So, have the uncomfortable conversation or practice like Elsa and let it go. Let it go. Let it go. Right? Have it or let it go. Because it's just eating you alive and making probably everybody else around you uncomfortable. Okay? So, same, like, again, I've had countless conversations with my husband about this. I've also let a lot of things go with my husband. Not that he's like a bad person, right? But just, you let things go because we're different people. So, if you can't learn to have the conversation, simply let it go. That's it. Period. End of story. Cool. All right. Well, I am sending you so much love. I hope that you have an amazing rest of your day. If you are looking for some support on navigating life, making a whole lot more enjoyable, and simply shifting a perspective, I am your girl. I love to have those conversations with people. Shifting perspectives is my MO, modus operandus. For those of you who don't know what MO is, it took me a little while to figure that one out. Heard it for a long time, used it for a long time. Anyways, nevertheless. All right, so I'm sending you lots of love. If you are interested in working with me, please don't hesitate to reach out. I do have private programs available. You're listening to this live on September 22nd, which means that we are starting Motherhood Manifesto this week, and that program is going to be amazing. You can still join today. We will actually have our first call on Wednesday the 24th, but there is going to be some work that we'll do before that first call. It's going to be fire. Motherhood will never be the same again, in the best way possible. So I'm sending you so much love. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day. If you have any questions about working with me or any questions about the programs I offer, please don't hesitate to reach out. Happy to have a conversation with you. And as always, be you, because the world needs more of you. Bye.